ప్రేక్షకులకు స్వాగతం. నా పేరు మనోహర్. You are watching Question Everything with Satya Anveshi. Today we have a guest who doesn't speak Telugu, so we are going to conduct this in English for now. And welcome, Chris. Chris, you're online and you're on mute. Chris, can you hear me? Chris, you're on mute. Unmute yourself, please.
Hi, sir. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for calling me in. This is the first time I'm being called for a live debate, and I'm really honored actually to be on your show. Thank you very much.
Yes, go ahead. Let's start, and you have the opening statement.
Okay. So I hope this is not some kind of a debate. I'm just going to present my viewpoints here and there, and maybe we can discuss on that. I'm sure.
Yes.
Shall I share the PowerPoint? Do I get the chance to share the PowerPoint here?
Yeah, I think you can. Go ahead, start sharing.
Okay.
Let's see if I can allow you. Were you able to open?
Just a minute. One. Oh yeah. Okay. Is my screen visible now? Is my screen visible?
Yes, now it is.
Okay. So
Yes, Chris, go ahead.
I'm sure we have all heard this particular argument called as a watchmaker's argument or watch argument. Like if you walk through a forest or some neglected place and you find a watch in the middle of the nowhere, you can assume that there is some human force that has been placed there. Some human intelligence has made that watch and kept it there. We don't assume that it has happened by evolution over millions of years. So this argument, when I was an atheist, it was a quite irritating argument for me because it made a lot of assumptions and made a lot of presuppositions that was it was almost a presuppositional argument to appeal to God. So this is a pretty recent argument which came around 2 to 3 centuries ago as a counter to the evolutionary argument. But evolution has successfully, in my opinion, just completely demolished as much as possible, demolished this argument of design. So
Right.
An improvement on this argument is that teleological fine-tuning argument.
Before we get in, can you quickly describe who you are and so that people have the context, right? So you could start with how did you start, and then were you ever an atheist, and what do you believe currently?
Okay, fine. I am from Chennai. I'm from Tamil Nadu. I was born in a nominal Christian family, so I do have a Christian background. So I can't say that I was completely atheist from my birth. So my father used to take me to the church during Christmas time and all that. So I'm familiar with the Christian faith from my birth. So you could say that I was indoctrinated with Christianity from that time itself. So probably that is one objection you can say. But during my teenagers, as usual, I was a bit rebellious and I did not believe in God. Back then, it was not theologically or philosophically strong sort of an atheism, but I was a bit agnostic. I did not bother about God and all that. But later on, at one particular point of time, there was some crisis and became a Christian. It was mainly an appeal to my emotions. I was emotional. I was desperate. I needed some kind of crutch. So religion provided that crutch, and I was already having this Christian background, so I became a Christian. And immediately after getting into Christianity, I started reading the Bible, and this Bible was really messing me up. I couldn't understand. I couldn't read even few verses without asking some questions about that. So every single verse, I was getting a lot of questions right from the beginning, from saying in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. I mean, these questions that are commonly put out, like how can God create the earth on the first day and on the third day is having sun and moon? These questions were I was already asking that. I did not need any internet or anything from other people, but I was already aware of this question, most of these questions, and these issues like slavery, the misogyny in the Old Testament, these things are really obvious. I don't think anyone can deny that. Even most Christians do not deny that, and that's the reason why we have apologists fighting against that, trying to justify it and all that. So these things were coming upon me, and I just gave up my faith again. So technically, at that point, after knowing the Bible, after reading the Bible, I became an atheist. I did not study other religions actually. I became an atheist. So that was the point that I could actually call myself as a real atheist. That lasted for around only 1 year. And as you can see that I was an emotionally maybe improvised, so I needed a crutch again. So what I said to God was like, I prayed again, said that if you are really God, you try to prove it to me. You show me. I'm just humble and I'm just open to the possibilities. Just show whatever proof that you have. And then I started getting into a little bit of philosophy and all that, philosophy in history and all that. At that time, I found that there was only one religion that was really concentrating on these topics very much, which was Christianity. Again, I'm not arguing about that. Maybe Muslims and others also do that, but maybe. So I was able to get a lot of answers for those questions, and I felt I was convinced to my best of my abilities. It was back in my teenage, probably around 16, 15 years, 17 years, 16, 17 years. I became a Christian again. So
where did
that
you
is
get
where,
these answers? In the sense, you said you asked for answers and you were able to receive them. Where did you get these
no.
answers from?
It was not some kind of revelation or something. I studied. I made an attempt to go and study
Okay.
about philosophy and all that.
Okay.
So basically, when
you got your answers from philosophy instead of theology?
not necessarily, that's not what I'm saying, but I just got answers. That's what I think. Maybe even theology.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I was finding people who are having the same questions that I had. That was very important for me. I wasn't alone. So the questions that I was asking, that other people were also asking, and the troubles that I was having slavery, misogyny, so many other violence and other things in the Old Testament, and even in the New Testament, I was not able to like comprehend on all those things and accept that as a real thing.
So straight up obvious there. Yeah.
Anyone who reads the Bible, Old Testament, they will really understand that it promotes slavery. It's not like there is any way like try to say justify it and say it was better than the other slavery. It is slavery anyway. Whether you call it as it is better than the other Islamic slavery or American slavery, it is still slavery. So these things were really hard for me to overcome. So I need to have a proper answer, and how the whole body of church, the whole theology of the church was actually dealing with this. So I was able to get a proper answer probably over the years. Maybe we can discuss that later on. So basically, at the present moment, what I feel is that religion is a personal choice. Like whatever religion that you want to choose, Islam or Christianity, it's your personal choice. But I don't think there is a very much choice between atheism and theism. I think it's a bit easier to go on the line of theism. I feel there are more arguments in favor of theism than atheism. So that's the reason why I'm a theist. So
okay. So see, there is a clear distinction between these two words, right? Deist and theist, right?
Yes.
Theist is actually a personal god, a person who a god who has qualities that you can describe, such.
Yes.
But there is this other argument called deist argument. I'm sure you have already heard that. Deist god is not a god of any religion. Nobody can probably describe that deistic god. They just define that, somebody who just started off the whole thing and does not take interest. So are you more convinced about the theistic version or the deistic version?
So right now I am a theist. Yeah, classical theist.
Okay. So theistic version. So let's any particular qualities of the god that you think that the theistic god, because essentially theistic god does have qualities, right? Deistic god, nobody wants to define that person or find it. Nobody wants to attempt that because they have to again prove it. So theistic god essentially has some qualities. What do you think the god that you believe in has qualities?
Okay, that's a big question. Okay. One thing is that he had a desire to create moral agents like human beings who had moral obligations, moral duties, and decisions to make. We don't ever say that when a lion kills a deer, we don't say that as a murder, or when rape happens in the animal kingdom, we don't ever call that as a moral decision or a moral situation scenario at all. We have
Mhm.
healthcare and welfare for the animals. We don't have any moral policing for those animals. So that is
Mhm.
even in from a common sense view, we understand that human beings are a very strong moral beings. So applying
Mhm.
this to the creator, he wanted to create this kind of moral beings who are able to actually reciprocate whatever he was giving to us, whether it's creative power or love or affection. He wanted us to be able to reciprocate that. So,
When
so I
did
believe
you
that
think?
God would be yes,
Okay, so when see, obviously, after hearing what you think about the Bible as such, you don't believe the Earth is few thousands of years old, right? It must
no, I
be
don't think the Bible says that
much.
either.
No, it's not. Yeah,
Yeah,
people derive out of it, right? There are some
yes, yes,
people
yeah.
started
No,
calculating the ages of these from
yes, yes, yes,
Adam's age, and and they start counting up until
yes,
supposed
yes.
Jesus' time, and then
It's
say that
completely against
somewhere.
evidence, completely against science,
I know,
completely
I know,
nonsensical.
I know. So obviously, you don't believe it to be that young. It must be an old Earth, right? Somewhere in the billions.
Yes,
Okay. So, and I think that you do have a good amount of understanding of evolution because you clearly said that the watchmaker argument is kind of broken by
yes,
evolution, and even the more recent discoveries and explanations by evolution are more convincing
yes, yes,
than a watchmaker argument. So, in that note, my question will be when you
yes,
have thousands of, sorry, millions of years of life, humans have emerged pretty recently, right? If you look at the
yes.
time scale, humans have emerged pretty recently. So there have been a couple of billions of years and couple
Yes,
of millions of years with multicellular organisms.
yes,
And then humans in their present form, the one we call modern humans, the sapiens sapiens,
yes,
is around what a few hundreds of thousands of years, right? You could say
yes,
100,000 or 200,000. So there have been modern humans for a long time. Even 100,000 years is also very long time, right?
yes.
But the moral part, the language and the intelligence part,
Okay.
to ponder about, where are we, who are we,
Yeah, yeah.
why are we created? These kind of questions came pretty recently, I would say.
Yes,
Recently, in the sense, in the last few thousands of years, starting from the Greeks, before there was any Christianity, right? Starting from the
yes,
Greeks, and even in some older epics, like I don't know if Gilgamesh ever mentions this thing, or even the Sumerian texts mention any of this, but it is definitely predating the Christian or the
yes,
Old
definitely.
Testament, definitely before that.
Yes,
So why did the God? I'm asking your opinion on this. Why did the God that you think that has created a moral being did not try it earlier? Why did it come up right at the moment when human intelligence started developing? See, there were dinosaurs, we know that. There were
yes,
old, ancient elephants, ancient mammals, ancient reptiles. Why not give morals to them? Why
yes,
only to the one species, the one and only species who knows how to think about themselves?
yes. Okay. Okay. So one thing is there is actually no logical requirement for God to do this. There is no logical requirement that God should create everything in a boom, in one single second, like as it says in Genesis chapter 1. There is no need for God to do that in a single moment and finish it off like that. It is really up to him to decide whatever way that can be happening. So what we have to do is show that it's logically impossible or logically implausible for something like that to happen. There is nothing wrong in using evolution to bring about this whole world. Uh,
Yeah, that's
what?
that's the deistic part. I have a couple of other
Yes,
people who argue that God could be the one who tinkered with evolution. Yeah, that's all fine. But the question is, when we impart qualities to this particular God, saying that he's not required to do such, he's not supposed to, and he's not required to follow this law. With what authority are we saying? For example, I can simply say that a goldfish is
yes,
not supposed to fly. because I know if you try to take it out, it dies, right?
Okay.
So we know the physical properties of the goldfish. So I can clearly say that fish is not supposed to fly, right? And humans are not supposed to live inside the ocean without any uh, equipment, right?
Yes.
Humans don't live underwater. This I know I can give on good authority because it's always impossible for those things. But when we say God is not required to follow that rule, with what authority are we saying
No,
God is not allowed to follow that rule?
no, I'm
Is it
not
our
saying.
imagination, or do we have any proof of that?
Now we need to understand something, that we are actually presupposing here. Even you, for the sake of argumentation, you are presupposing that there's a God and He has created this, and you are asking why did He not do it the other way? That's what the question is. My question is,
Yeah,
what kind of
see
a
that's because no theist has ever been able to provide a solid proof of God. We are just using allusions. We are just using
yes, yes,
uh, 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 you know emotional arguments for the presence of a God. So, because there is zero evidence from the other side, we have to presuppose that yes, there. Okay, fine. You say that there is a God. Now you're trying to tell me the qualities or the characteristics of that God, or what He can do and cannot do. So I'm going. I'm just actually playing along. So now I'm
yes. I
asking.
understand. I don't suppose that you are believing in a God. I'm just saying, for the argument's sake, you
Huh,
are proposing God. So we need to like ask what kind of a logical requirement that God has to do that. For I will just give you an example. Maybe uh,
mhm,
I will provide an argument for your side. Maybe like for
mhm,
millions of years, for trillions, billions of years, we had microbes with we had invertebrates. All these animals were suffering like anything. All three
mhm,
through these years, they were suffering like anything. God could have
mhm,
created it in a particular moment and avoided this kind of a suffering. Maybe
mhm.
is that, maybe that's a probable argument that you want to put out. Maybe is that, would you agree
Suffering
on that?
is still here in humans as well. We humans suffer with or without faith. There are proper Christian countries and proper Islam countries, proper Hindu country that have huge amounts of faith. They'll give their life. They still have suffering, and people who believe are the ones who actually tend to have more crime.
Yes,
Atheist
yes.
countries, or people who don't believe or who don't have any use for a god, right? Those countries seems to have a higher happiness index. So
I'm
one
aware
is
of
the
those things.
utility part. Yeah, yeah, I
You
know,
were
I know.
saying about the
See,
Scandinavian countries, I think.
countries.
Those
Yeah,
studies were
yeah,
done
yeah,
in Scandinavian
absolutely.
countries. Yeah.
Yeah. So the point is, see, it's not just somebody's perception. Even I could simply make those polls, right? Those surveys are done by someone who is biased. Yeah. But then you could actually see the crimes are not hidden, right? You cannot hide crimes in the local newspapers. You effectively, the crime is lower. Nowhere it is zero. Obviously it will never be zero, but it is
Right.
tangibly low in places where there is no belief in God. So there are 2 points to it. One is the utility of a concept of a God, and whether it is true or not, right? We are actually dealing with two different pieces here. One is whether this supposed God is present or not, is really in existence or not, and then the belief in God, whether that gives any value or not. In both counts, the evidence is against the theist position, right? First thing, for the existence part, there is absolutely zero evidence. Anything that we hear a lot of people say, oh, the universe itself is the proof. No, universe is the proof of universe, right?
Okay.
So now, and for the belief part, it's clearly visible, tangibly visible, that more belief in a god, doesn't matter which god, more belief in a god is automatically lessening the happiness index or the hope index. It's even evident in the development and
Okay.
healthcare and everywhere, right? So how do we reconcile this?
Right. Okay. So that was what I was going actually. I understood that the watchmaker's argument was not good, so I wanted to go to another argument. So one statement that you made was there is no evidence for the God, and that any evidence that is being presented is not being good enough. Is that what you said? Would you agree with that? There is no evidence for
Yeah,
God.
so the evidence that one type of theist provides,
Okay.
another type of theist says, no, that's not sufficient, that's not correct. And atheist or the rationalist position is, none of your evidences are correct. I think Lucian is also saying, stop saying it has zero evidence. Yeah, zero evidence. When we say zero evidence, it says zero repeatable and provable evidence. Illusions, we have millions of illusions. Christians say the same thing, Muslims say the same thing, Hindus say the same thing. My God is there, your God is wrong. And if you ask and if you press for evidences, they will definitely come up with some anecdotal evidence and documentary evidence, as if those things supposed to mean anything. Anybody
No,
can
they
write a
don't mean
document,
anything.
anybody.
No, they don't mean anything actually. Like personal testimonies, personal experience don't mean much. But I want to ask you this question: what evidence do you think is the strongest evidence that has been present from the theist side, which you feel has
Mhm.
been exposed till now? What you feel is the strongest evidence, which you don't agree with, which you don't feel sufficient, but what do you think is the strongest evidence that you feel,
Oh,
which you heard till
the
now?
no, it's the other way around. When I ask the yes, what is your most convincing argument? They simply come up with the morality argument.
What is that? Morality? What is it?
Morality, yeah. So they keep saying that without God, how will humans know, or how will anybody know what is moral, what is not moral?
No, I don't think that is the argument. The moral argument is something like this. Listen carefully. It says something like moral duties and laws are based
Mhm.
either in God or in physical necessity. We know that it is not in physical necessity, so therefore it is
Oh,
on
no,
God.
it
That
is
is what the basis.
no,
It
no.
doesn't
It's
say that we cannot
definitely
know.
no.
Of course,
Definitely, it is
atheists can be
based on
good people.
physical necessity. No, no. It is not. It is based on physical necessity. We can easily prove that. See,
No, okay, that's okay. I understand that, but that the argument doesn't say that atheists cannot be good people. That is not at all the argument. The moral argument doesn't go that way. Let me just
no,
clarify
no.
that.
Maybe the word moral argument is wrong. It's the morality part.
Okay,
People say that only God can give you morality. Who can say right from wrong? Who can say good from bad? They say
okay,
obviously only God can give. And I say there is no evidence that a God is giving any morality. Everything is human constructed. What is true and what is correct morally a couple of hundreds of years back is now not correct, and what is now we say correct will be definitely wrong sometime in future. So when morality and the moral compass is being calibrated as and when we go, where is the God in this picture?
okay. So one thing that I need to emphasize here is that objective moral values and duties are being accepted even by atheist philosophers as such. Like, let me just give you an example. Is there any situation
Mhm.
where you feel that raping a little child is okay? I mean, you would have heard of
Absolutely
this
not.
question now.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Absolutely, there
maybe
is no reason in any situation that can be a right thing to do.
then
So
do you accept that it is an objectively morally wrong thing? Objectively,
no,
it is
it's
morally
not.
wrong.
It's no. It can be easily come. It can easily be deducted by
Yeah.
the simple argument like, is it good for me?
Okay.
See, there is this golden rule, right? You know this golden rule, right? It's not even in religion. It predates religion.
Yes.
What you want to be done, sorry, what you don't want to be done to you, you don't do to the others. Do unto others that you do unto you, right? I don't know how to phrase it, but it says
Yeah, I
that
understand.
what you don't want to be done to yourself, you shouldn't be doing to someone else. That's the simplest golden rule. And every single moral principle can be extracted out of that. I can easily demonstrate that to you.
Well, that's
Just
what I'm
one
going to the
golden
example.
rule, you can expand it to anything that you want. Every single moral principle, including the constitution, including all the moral systems in the world, you could get out of it. No God necessary at all. I can easily prove that to you. Let's say you just said about rape, right? Forget little girl earlier. Rape is a simplest form of um, assault
Okay.
without the permission of the person, right?
Yes.
Will anybody want it for themselves? I'm talking about the majority here. You could point to some masochist and say, nah, they will like it. No, no. Majority of the people, the simplest answer is, would you like it to happen to you? Everyone will say, no, it doesn't. Right? I don't like that to happen to me.
Okay.
Finish. That's the rule. And we as humans are social beings, like many other mammal animals, right? Social beings do not like to be violating each other. Why is that? Because if I violate someone else will violate me, right? Eye
Okay.
for an eye will leave the entire tribe blind. So the simplest rule is, let's outlaw that. Let's say that is a bad thing. Let's put some punishments or some discouraging mechanisms to discourage such kind of behavior. Now, we took an extreme example of rape, but you could do that with anything. Let's say stealing. Is stealing a good thing? A simplest answer is no, it's not a good thing. Would you like something stolen off from you? No, we don't like to be, people to steal from us. So by default, it is a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
So then you can come up with other situations like, is it okay to steal something which is insignificant for that person, but it is significant for here? Maybe you're stealing a bread to feed someone. Is that a good thing? So now here the situation and ethics come in. My
Okay.
point is to make every type of moral argument, whether any situation, whether it is good or bad, correct or wrong, is it permissible or not permissible, you can derive it out of the simple golden rule. Will you like that thing to happen to you? If your answer is no, you're already halfway there. Then you can start talking to your teammates, your clan mates, and say, boss, should we outlaw people just mating everyone with anyone? Should we do that? The simplest answer is maybe it's not a good thing. In some cultures it is actually okay, right? Polygamy is very much okay in some cultures. They have come up with a proper moral system in which they learned how to deal with it. In some cultures we say one man one woman, right? In some warrior cultures like this Islam, right, they it's just a warrior culture. They just go to wars, kill the neighboring tribes, take over their lands. It's just invaders and looters, right? In that religion they have come up with, oh, men keep going to wars, maybe they'll not return. What happens to the women? Okay, then let's put up a law saying that one man can marry multiple women, right? It's all
Yeah.
situational. Everything is situational. Here I don't see any hand of a god or anything. You could easily argue that um, uh, there actually you could not argue any moral situation that needs a supernatural um, permission. Human ingenuity can do it using just the golden principle, nothing else.
Okay. So we do. So you are appealing to the golden principle here. My question is,
Yeah.
what kind of basis does the golden principle have here? Now, just want to
Oh,
clarify
it's
that
yeah, it's
many
actually
of
easy. See, golden principle is starts with self, right? It see the only thing that you can be sure of is that you are experiencing yourself, right? Your body, you are experiencing pain,
yeah,
happiness, hunger, sleep, all these emotions. You have it. You are experiencing. Everything else you can simply say in a solipsist kind of mentality, right? You could say everything is an
yeah,
illusion. Everything outside my mind is an illusion. But
yes,
one thing you cannot say is illusion is that you feel pain, you experience hunger, you experience tiredness, you experience heartbreak when something doesn't go according to you. This thing happens to even animals. It's not even unique to humans, right? So that's why when you try to cause pain to an animal, it tends to run away. It's avoiding pain. So these things, that's why it starts with the self. You know what you are made of. You know what you like. Pain is not preferable. Pleasure is preferable to pain, right? People like pleasure, whether it is food or sex or any other pleasure, even if it is a small thing. Pain is generally discouraged. Life is more preferable to death. This, you don't even need to ask anybody else. You ask yourself, what is the most common answer you get when you ask yourself, do you want to live or die? Live. Do you want pain or pleasure? Pleasure. Would you like to be well fed or starve? Well fed.
Yes.
Would you like someone to punch you? No, I don't want someone to punch me. Would you want someone to cause pain to you? No, someone or something, right? Because all you are sure of is you, yourself, that's all. Now, from here, now when you observe across the world, you see that there are other individuals just like you. When you talk to them, when you ask them, they also say the same thing. No, I don't like pain. Yes, I would like to be well fed. No, I don't like punching on my face either. So two people have agreed. Add another few dozen people. Everybody says the common things, that they don't like pain. They don't like to be cheated. They don't like things stolen from them. They don't like, uh, cheating kind of behavior. So when all these things have come together, when everyone knows that yes, these are truths, they make laws around it, because they have to live together, right? See, if you are and if all of us are like reptiles, right? Reptiles don't care about each other. Most of the snakes, most of the other reptiles, they don't care about each other. Turtles, they don't see their kids at all. They just lay eggs, walk away. That's all, right? For them, solitary lifestyle is their lifestyle. But humans and many other mammals, all of them need companionship from their own species mates. And this is what nature has given us. This is how we have made, this is how we are constructed. Then rules automatically come. In even in gorilla uh, groups of gorillas, groups of chimpanzees, groups of wild dogs, groups of lions, everywhere there are rules. You just have to observe them. Stealing is almost always frowned. Raping is almost always dealt with harshest of punishments. In some monkeys, they
You
actually
mean in
murder
Animal Kingdom?
these things. Animal Kingdom, yes,
No,
they
rape
have
goes on all the
rules.
time.
Yeah,
Murder
that's what I'm
goes on all
saying.
the time. Nobody's bothered about it.
So, so now the point is, why does God need to tell anything? Where is the requirement for a supernatural deity who tells things? Yeah, this is moral. This is not moral.
Yes, that is the argument actually. It's not that God is saying that something is right or wrong. That's not the issue. Even if you throw out the full Bible outside, or Quran or Gita, everything outside, the
Mhm.
appeal is made about where the basis of the objective moral values and duties are. That is what the argument is. Okay, I
Yeah,
understand
I'm saying
I
that.
understand your point. It can be explained by
Mhm.
societal pressures, evolutionary biology,
Exactly.
by our perception of pleasure and pain, and so on. I understand, but still, I will just give you an example. Maybe this example will help you. Maybe we had the Nazis trying to rule Germany for a short period of time. Let's
Mhm.
imagine that the Nazis conquer the entire world,
Mhm.
right? They conquer the entire world and they proposed
Mhm.
their Nazism to everyone, and everyone started assuming that Nazism was the thing, right? Everyone started assuming
Mhm.
that it was okay. Would we still
Mhm.
call it as okay because everyone is accepting it? Is this a majority issue? Is that how it works? If a
No,
majority
it's not
people accept
majority.
something as right,
No, absolutely not. See, more than half of southern states in United States, they say that abortion is wrong,
yeah.
right? Whether it is wrong or not, it depends on the woman, right? Why does anybody has to say? So majority rule is not at all the basis. Like I said, golden rule is the basis.
That was exactly
If
what you are
if
appealing
it,
to right now. You are saying that the society will decide upon what is acceptable and not based on this majority,
no, no, no,
right?
no, 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 no. See, so there is another counter argument to your simplified version. Let's say
Okay.
there are 1,000 people, right? 1,000
Okay.
people, and one person, 999 people figured out that this one person will kill him and eat him. Just because everyone is hungry, just kill that person and eat him. It
Okay.
doesn't have to be 1,000. Let's take 100 also. Right?
Okay.
99 people thought that all of us are going hungry. We'll just eat that person and all of us will live. That's a wrong thing. Why is that a wrong thing? Ask any one of those 99 people if they want to be that one person. That's where the golden rule comes in. Ask any one of them. See, majority, that's why we have this simplified statement, right? Democracy is the worst kind of government unless you try all other types. All other types are worse than democracy. See, majority rule is actually a dangerous thing, like you just mentioned, right? What if everyone thinks that, one thing is right? Let's take Pakistan, right? Or Afghanistan. Everybody thinks that, okay, fine. Some of those people who are fleeing Afghanistan, they don't like Sharia because they know what exactly it entails.
Okay.
Rest of the country is saying, fine, yeah, let's have Sharia. We have this is the correct way of living. Will they want it to be applied when they are on the receiving side? That's the question to ask, right? Let's say we'll all clip all the rights of women. Ask the woman, does she like her rights to be curtailed? If you are a woman, will you be okay clipping your rights? Is that a general opinion? Is every woman in the country accepting that? Majority is never right. Majority is actually a dangerous thing. That's
Sure.
why only elections need to be in majority. The other formulation of laws, everything, those need to be discussed. It's not just, okay, everyone who is a non-Nazi or a black person or a non-white, blue-eyed person, let's kill everybody. If you are the other person, will you say the same thing? That's where the golden rule kicks in, right? Your
Sure. Yeah.
example where say that if Nazism won and everybody
Yeah.
started taking over,
Okay.
yeah, there are some alternate worldviews also. Even then, it would be wrong. Why it would be wrong? You would. That's where this whole thing boils down to it. How do you know something is wrong? It's
Yes,
because of the golden.
that's the question that I'm asking. You are claiming that something that causes pain to me is subjectively wrong. Would you accept that? Something that
Yeah,
causes
yeah.
pain to me, that affects me, is objectively wrong.
Yes, absolutely. That's because I know what I have, what I can experience, isn't it?
Yes, that's the way argument goes on. When they are subject to moral and evil, we try to assess which is the basis of that, and we go to God. Okay, I understand. I just want to know which argument you are familiar with. That's what
Ha, ha,
I
ha.
want to discuss that argument actually.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead with your arguments because that is definitely not convincing that there is a God or God gives
No,
any of those rules
it
because I
doesn't
can
convince me
easily.
either. It's a
Uh,
presuppositional argument. For those who are believing in God, it will be a good argument. I understand. It's a presuppositional argument, a bit of presupposition. Yeah.
okay.
So
Let's go on. So present your. Okay. Is this your top argument? Fine tuning one.
not necessarily the top argument, but this is something that is accepted by the atheist philosophers as the top. That's the reason I present. My
No, no,
argument is
no, no,
usually
no, no.
contingency argument.
I don't think atheist philosophers or anybody who calls themselves atheist philosophers will agree to this. See, the
No,
appearance
not
of
agree.
fine.
They accept that it is
Huh.
strong. Not necessarily they agree with it. That's the
Yeah,
reason
yeah.
they are
See,
atheist.
the appearance of design, the appearance of fine tuning is definitely something that needs explanation. Now, the
Yeah.
point is, it needs explanation, right? Now, Thea's point is because there is no better explanation, the default is God. Now, that's where the
Yeah.
problem starts, and that's where the differences arise. We can
Sure. Yeah.
easily agree that the physical constants, the what do you call
Cosmology
yeah
constant.
the
Constants.
meaning of the constants,
Constants in
they
physics. Yeah.
seem to be pretty precise,
Yes.
right? Any difference in that, the world or the universe would not exist in its present form,
Yes.
right? How do we know that?
Oh, yeah. Is it really fine-tuned? That's the question that you are asking. Objection that is it really
Yeah,
fine-tuned? If we change numbers, would we know? That's the whole point of science. We can actually
exactly.
imagine things that doesn't exist, that doesn't actually happen.
Exactly.
So
So
we
what
know
if
from
there is
our
a different what if there is a different configuration? Let's say that how many constants? I think 21 constants, right? How there is a count. I
uh,
keep forgetting. Some number
uh,
of constants. They say that
yes,
these are constant across the universe. You go anywhere, right?
yeah,
Now let's take that saying that yeah, this presentation of universe, yes, all of those constants are precisely at their exact location,
sure.
right? How do we know that a different configuration of those constants is not possible? We cannot observe beyond our universe, right? So we say that okay, what I see, that's all there is. Nothing else exists outside
Yes.
or anywhere else. Now, how do we know that? It's a question, right? It's a question that is not answered satisfactorily by anybody, not by science, not by religion. But theists maintain a position that because this is fine tuned, somebody there is there who twisting the knobs and making that fine tuning. My point is, how do we know that a different configuration is not viable?
No, that is what the whole point of science is. We can know that even if we don't observe it, we know
Hmm.
it by our experimentation and all that. For example, I'm just giving you
Hmm.
the example. Actually, one of the most commonly used one is the cosmology constant. This constant
Yeah,
is something that determines the expansion and the contraction of the universe. This is a constant that determines how much expansion
mhm.
of the universe happens, how much doesn't happen. So even if it is changed by a very small fraction of a thing, it will
Hmm.
expand further at a larger rate, and only these elements will be formed. Hydrogen, helium, and lithium
Okay.
will be formed. No other elements will be possible. So carbon-based organisms cannot even arise. So these are things that
Okay.
we can know from science. This is not a theological conclusion as at all. This is a
I
physical.
know. There is a
Yeah.
simple rebuttal to this. Okay, we have been to the
Okay.
what do you say? We have been to the fairs, right? The village fairs, etc.
Sure. Yeah.
Between towns. So almost every fair will have some shop, stall which has throw your rings and whatever falls on the ring you pick it up, right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. So now I have bought 15 rings and I
Okay.
threw all of them at once.
Yes.
At
Okay.
least one will fall somewhere,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
High possibility, at least one will fall. Then I will simply claim that yes, I was hoping that would fall all the time. How does that argument sound?
Okay, I'll just rephrase that example again. Let's say that
Ah,
I put 15 of those rings, and in every 15, one of that, it
mhm,
exactly falls on the same place that it should fall. The most
mhm,
difficult portion, it falls every
mhm,
single time. Would you
mhm.
simply assume that it was because of chance, or would you say there was something going on there?
Something going on there. Okay,
Yeah,
that now
that's what I'm saying.
exactly. Okay, let me
The
deconstruct then.
probability of this thing is very high. That's the
No,
reason
no,
why
no, no,
we're
no, no,
asking
no.
for a demand
No,
for
no,
a,
no, no.
reason.
The probability is not very high. The probability we don't even know how to calculate the probability because this is the only universe that you have experience. How do you know there are no other? You know this multiverse concept, right?
Yes, you were going to
What if
propose
there
a
are?
multiverse for answering this argument. So you are
Yeah.
going against Occam's
How
razor
did
again.
you? No, no, no. How do you say that those things are not valid? See, when we are making this assumption that all of these things are precisely uh, tuned,
Yes.
how did you throw out the argument that yeah, maybe there were so many other attempts, and the one which survived is now talking about how did I survive? Yeah, you are talking about it just because you survived. There are millions of other options that did not survive probably, and we don't even
Yes.
know if
I
another
totally understand that.
configuration is even viable or not. We have no way to determine whether there is a different configuration which is viable or not. So where did the God come in this?
No, brother. I think I disagree with the place where you say that we cannot know whether the other parameters will be applicable or not. We know that it is from
Mhm.
science. It is not from theology. It has a wide
No,
range
no.
actually. For example, for your
Science
like
never science has already no, no, I agree what you're saying that a small change would destroy the entire universe.
Yes.
If
So it is a
if
small
the
branch.
universe, no, if the universe was destroyed, you and I will not be here answering, talking about it, isn't it?
Okay, then I will give you an example. Okay,
Uh-huh.
simple example. Um, let's say that you are giving a bet to me, a $1 million bet, something like that. You ask me to, you give me a coin with head and tail, and you ask me to put it 100 times and hope that in every single time I will get get a head. Am I clear?
Yeah.
And let's say that I do it and actually do that. Possible? Is that possible? Would you call that as a possibility? Yes, it is possible. Actually, it is possible, but it is very improbable. That is the whole point of the argument. Is it's not that whether it is possible or not. It is showing that it's very improbable. I think that's a
No, if
very
it is
strong argument.
that is not at all a strong argument. You're just again saying that whatever passes through the filter is
Yeah.
the one which is saying, yes, I passed through the filter, so nothing else is possible. How do you know that? What are the other configurations of those constants are not possible? Science clearly
No,
says there are other possibilities. You can
no, no.
easily change. No, you can easily change. There are dozens of constants, right? Cosmological constant is not the
Yes,
only
yes,
one,
yeah.
right?
At least 6 or 12, 6 to 12. Yeah.
Yeah. So with our measurements, with the current science measurements, they're saying that any change, any difference in this one constant would make the universe unviable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a fair argument, right?
Yes.
Okay. Are there
Do you
any
doubt
other
that?
configurations?
Do you doubt that question actually?
No,
I
that's
just want
not.
to clarify.
I agree to it. I agree to it.
Okay,
I
fine.
agree that cosmological constant is extremely precisely present. Now, the point is, what if there are many other universes which did not have this cosmological constant, this precise, and they went off extinct? You'll never know about them.
Okay, yeah.
Now, where is the God concept? See, when you throw a bunch of marbles in some area, and one there is a small circle on the sand, you throw large enough number of marbles, one of them is going to land there. How is
Sure, yeah.
that
Yes.
an argument? You see, you put a ring there, a circle in the sand, a small circle in the sand, and you have a bag full of marbles. You threw it. One of those balls, one of those marbles landed in the circle. Now you're saying, see, exactly, I knew it will land. No, you didn't know. You just threw all the marbles. Here, there is absolutely no need of a fine tuner.
Sure. Yeah, I get your point. Let me just clarify a few points here. One thing
Okay.
is that the probability based on Bayes' theorem. I could go on the details, but I don't think I am qualified to talk on that. But I will just say that probability based on the Bayes' theorem is that when you keep designer on one side and the possibilities, logical possibility of this happening by chance on the other side, it always comes more than 50% for the designer. I'm just saying this, so I'm not going to the detail, but maybe those who are
This is
physicists may
argument
be
from
able to answer
authority,
this.
right? See, what is his name? Bayes, is it?
Bayes' theorem, yeah.
Yeah. He's of his. He's a man of his time. So everybody around him is religious person, and he has been indoctrinated from the beginning. If he was an atheist from the beginning, he wouldn't have said this thing, right? So
No,
it's
it's
again
actually
argument from
theorem. It's a
authority.
mathematical argument. It's not based on the time and place by the person who said it. It is a
Nah, I don't
theoretical
think so.
theorem.
See, the word designer never appears in mathematics. That's just smuggled by the theists. Now, I have
That I
a follow-up
understand. Yeah,
question.
sure.
I have a follow-up question to this. The believers of God, let's say deistic God, right? Because
Yeah,
everyone we know,
yeah.
99% of all the believers that we see are religious believers, right? They know that they have a God, and that God uh, gives their prayers some meaning. We have very small population of deistic believers. Example, you are the one of them,
No, I'm not a
right?
theist. I said I am theist.
You're
Yeah,
a,
fine.
you're
Okay,
a, okay, fine.
okay.
Now, if you are a theist, is this the reason? Is the cosmological constant the reason that made you believe that there is a God, or maybe a group of these things? These are the things that made you believe in a God.
Yeah, definitely. That's the
Okay,
reason I was saying. Like initially, I was
okay,
not aware
fine.
of these things.
So I know that you're a fan of William Lane Craig. I've seen your profile. I think he has been influencing a lot of people, but all of his what do you say? All of his arguments are only uh,
They are
impressive.
outdated by now. They are
Yeah, they're
outdated.
already outdated, and they're only impressive for the people who already believe.
Yes.
Right now, the follow up question I wanted to come up is this particular God. Let's say, do you think this particular God who created the entire universe started it off and then left it alone? Will that entity be interested in any prayer?
I think that is the whole point of Christianity. That is the reason why they propose that a person called Jesus Christ came to earth, trying to represent God on his behalf or something like that. So we have a God who is incomprehensible, but he is presenting himself in a comprehensible manner to mankind. That's the whole point of Christianity. So yes,
Yeah, but
I think it
then
is possible that God has revealed himself to us. That's a part of
why
a
did
special revelation. Some people will say
why
Islam,
did
some will say Gita. Yeah.
then why did God see? Every human being has some amount of objective morals written on their heart, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because and that is because of golden rule, as I proved it earlier. Right?
Okay.
You say that a God has given us written. I say it is innate in us. There is no need of a God. But at least what we agree both is that there are things that are clearly mentioned to us that
Yes.
these
Yeah.
are good things, these are
Yes.
bad things, because we don't like
We
to
know it.
experience pain. We don't want to cause pain,
Yes.
right? So that is a clear indication. Let's say there is a God who wants to give, morals. The best way to give the such morals is to have this sensitivity that okay, you will hate pain, so you will not cause pain,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But then if that is enough,
Yeah.
why did God need so many brokers in between? Why come in human flesh form? What is the reason? See, a fish cannot fly in air,
Yeah.
right? So that is its task to do on earth. Let's say there is this God who writes all rules how each one should work, right? If that God has given a clear indication, boss, you are a goldfish and you are not supposed to fly in air, that's it. Why come in a human form, and why is always the revelation done privately
To a
to
small group
some
of
people?
people. Yeah.
To some people and in a
Yes.
small group, and almost always when the group is either illiterate or easily gullible, and always in the ancient times, not in the modern times. Why is that?
A good question. I understand it's part of the argument from hiddenness of God. Why God is being very selective in His revelations? Why can't He reveal it as a like write it on the
Yeah,
sky and everyone can see, everyone can understand?
yeah, not even
Uh,
skies. Yeah, like I said, right? See, we physically cannot live in the ocean without equipment, right? That's a
yeah.
simple rule. Everybody hates pain. Let's not talk about some masochists, but everybody hates pain. As a majority, people don't like pain. So they
Yes.
don't. They come up with the rules that let's not cause pain to each other. I'll not beat you. You'll not beat me. This is a clear indication, right? But then, why does this particular God that you propose come out as a person? And that too, the whole charade of Christianity is completely illogical from the beginning to the end, right? The Old Testament, you have already discredited it completely. Let even if in New Testament also,
Okay.
uh, I don't see any argument that this person is a god or god incarnate or God's son. All of them are written at least couple of decades after the supposed person's death. How is this original, right? This is absolutely not original, right?
I don't understand. What do you mean by not
No,
original?
not original in the sense none of, let's say there is this person called Jesus. I'm pretty sure that there is no person called Jesus. But let's say, at least he is believed. Some of the, most of the Christians believe.
Okay.
Not a single gospel, not a
Okay.
single stretch of the Bible is first hand. Everything is written and collected at least 30 to 40 years after the supposed person's death.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Same with Quran. Same with Quran. After 150 years, the Quran is even worse actually. After the supposed death of Quran, there is a commission. Sorry, after the death of Muhammad, what am I saying? After
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
death of Muhammad, there is a commission which collected all the sayings and all the writings that were scattered all across the places. And then somebody constructed a book, said, this is God's word. How is that remotely even a convincing argument? I know that you are not saying Bible is convincing for you, but somehow you are still attached to that because of the mental gymnastics that this guy Lane Craig, he tries to propose that, yeah, these things prove God, so you believe, yeah, Jesus. I don't know how did he make that connection, by the way. If there is a God, see, atheists simply say that I don't believe your claims of a God. If some atheist says yes, there is no God, you have the right to question that person. How did he come to the conclusion? But there is a clear indication that the gods proposed by the religions,
Okay.
the Yahweh, the Jesus, the Muhammad, the Allah, the all the gods of Hinduism, you can very clearly and 100% with confidence say these don't exist because the qualities that these books propose are terrible. They are incomprehensible, and they do not conform to the physical reality that we know.
So, do you want to say that about Jesus Christ? Like his life was not morally perfect, something like that?
No,
Let's say
not
that we
that.
imagine that he
See,
was a mythical
the
person, but I'm just asking.
no, no. See, the claims about his miracles, those are the
Okay.
laughable bits, right?
Okay.
Feeding a mountain of people with loaves and fishes, walking on water, cursing a fig tree. Do you know that story, right?
Okay.
That parable?
No,
Cursing
no.
a
I'm
fig tree.
asking. Do you feel that Jesus Christ is morally not a appropriate person to be considered as a good person? I'm just asking
No, no.
as a human being.
My first point is I don't believe that there is a person called Jesus Christ at all. It could be a figment of someone's imagination,
I know
or
majority of the
it could be.
historians believe that he existed, even including secular atheists and non-believers believe that Jesus Christ exists. That is not a point.
There
Our doubt
are
is who was he? That is a more appropriate
there
question.
are about four names who are called
Okay.
Jesus at around that time.
No,
There is
no, we are sure about
you know
that.
the
It is
word
Jesus the Christ.
Jesus the Christ, right? It could not be the same person that every gospel is talking about. There are so many Christs, right? Christ, the word Christ is what, savior, isn't it?
No, there is only
Every
one Christ.
no no no
There are
no
many
no no no.
Jesus. Maybe that's what he was saying. There were 20 Jesus mentioned
There,
by Josephus in his records.
I
Is that what
know.
you're saying?
But
Yeah,
everybody says that he is the Messiah. There are so many people who call themselves Messiah
as
during those
Messiah. Yeah,
times. Yeah. What does the word Christ mean?
yeah, Messiah, who's a savior,
Yeah,
who's
Christ
anointed
means
one.
the word Christ itself is savior, isn't it?
Yeah,
So there, even Moses was a Christ, if you want to force the word.
yeah.
He was
Okay,
also
yeah,
a prophet, right? He was
yeah.
carrying the word of God, whatever. So there have been hundreds of people who have been mentioned, and one person is attributed almost all the qualities that everybody has and every good person has, right?
Right.
How does it not occur to you that it could be a amalgamation of many things? See, you could easily see that happening in front of our eyes. You know this person called Sai Baba, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sai Baba was a person. There were even photos, and some decades back, there were even people who saw him, right? Then once the person is dead, people start adding um,
Mythological
miracles
stories to that.
to
Yeah.
exactly. People say that he took out all his intestines, he washed it, and then swallowed it back, right? So once the person is dead and nobody is there to question
Sure. Yeah.
these stories start adding up, and add to the fact that this happened what in just about a century back. right?
Okay. Yeah.
Relatively modern times. Now, when there is absolutely no communication back then, and every communication will have to take days or weeks, it's easy to make stories and then add stories on and on. I'm saying all of those stories are made to pacify the desert dwellers and then start adding morality so that they can control the population.
Uh, the
My
Christian
point
religion
is
was not
morality.
have any kind of political power for first 300 years. So it is really irrelevant whether they have any kind of power to oppress the people or not. They were not. They were a minority. They were a persecuted minority for the first 3 centuries. So this idea
That
of
still
trying
doesn't
to
matter, right? The same thing happened with Muhammad.
no
Muhammad was
at
beaten,
the point
almost
of the
beaten to death.
it cannot be irrelevant, right? When they were starting the religion, it was not useful for them. They were persecuted and being killed for whatever they're believing. So it was not relevant at the
And
point of origin.
there were so many books that were destined to the trash can. Then the Council of Nicaea has sat down for electing which books to make to the canon,
No, no, no,
right?
no, no. It
Let's
was
not
not
go
the
to the
point of
history.
the.
No. Let's not go to the history. I don't want to get there.
Okay.
Historicity of Bible, those things don't interest me anyway. I'm here to say that
No, brother, I understand what you're saying, but it is not true that the books of the Bible were decided at the Council of Nicaea. It was already decided around 100 years back. Council of Nicaea was discussing about a completely different topic, whether Jesus Christ was like a human being or he was some kind of a spirit being. That was a minority of these people were believing that he was a spirit being. So that was the confusion. So they had a discussion on that debate. It was a debate, not even a like vote or something.
okay,
It was a debate. So
that's okay.
just
But
clarifying.
but
Fine.
so there is a
That
clear
doesn't change your
distinction
faith. I
between
understand. Just saying.
there's a clear distinction between Old Testament and New Testament. Somebody made that decision, isn't it? Because the Old Testament has way too much violence. They said, "Fine, let's screw it. We'll come up with something better." And again, they screwed it up because New Testament is milder version of the cruelty. It just says, "Okay, fine, you can keep slaves, but slaves also obey their masters." It kind of softened the whole thing. Now, still, it doesn't, make sense. Why does this supposed God only reveal to the most illiterate people and the most
Yes, that's a
gullible
good question.
people, and at times where no other verification is possible? See, if
Okay.
the God, if the God's ultimate purpose is to tell that please live morally, right? He already gave us repulse mechanism. If someone tries to rape us, we feel repulsed and we hate it. That is an inbuilt quality. Why does this particular God need brokers to tell again and again and fail every time? You see my point?
Yeah. So one thing is, why did God reveal to a small group of people which cannot be as examined as it is today? Like if he reveals himself today, we can examine it more clearly, but not at the
Yeah.
back in those days. So
Mhm.
the same question could also be asked by the people of the first century, like why did not God reveal himself to us? He is revealing to the 20 centuries later on. So I think it is again lot logically required of God to select a particular time and space. Maybe he had knowledge of this particular time that first century was a good place to reveal himself. Maybe he felt that way. Unless we have an argument on asking why it was not some other time, we cannot be really questioning it. A second point
How
is,
did you
I
determine? No. My question is, how did you determine we cannot question God? You are free to make claims about His qualities, right?
yeah.
You're saying He's not required. You are making a claim about His quality, His will, or His what do you say? His intentions,
Yes, yes,
right?
yeah.
How did you come by that information?
Uh, Again, I'm trying to put the burden of proof on you. Actually, I'm saying
No.
like
You're the one who's proposing the God, right? I'm saying no God is necessary. I know all the
no.
moral principles. You just have to present the situation to me, and I will give you what is the best and the most simplest moral response. Even you could do it. I'm not saying I'm the one. Anybody could do it just using the golden principle. My point is, you are making claims about this God's intentions and his qualities, right? How did you come by this information?
Through his revelation only. But as I said, his desire was not to really like give out a law, commandment, or a set of rules to follow. That was not the intention of Jesus Christ coming to this world. His idea was not to say what is right and what is wrong. As you said, we already know that. Most of the laws we already know it. Whether something is right or wrong, whether we can do it or not, based on our own experience from evolutionary biology and so on, we already know that. Purpose of Jesus Christ coming to this world is that he was trying to say what God had wanted us to know about him, so that
And
we
it
will have a
is,
relationship with him.
and he has completely failed in that endeavor, isn't he?
I
See,
don't
there
think
are
so.
no, it is completely failure. There is, see, there are Christians in the world who want every other non-Christians to die. That's not what Jesus Christ would have wanted
Yeah.
if his stories
So they
were
are not
true.
following what Jesus said.
Then what is the point in making that proclamation 2000 years back, right? When nobody is going to follow. Why not write in the on their hearts, like you mentioned, like the repulse mechanism we had? Why not write the heart in the heart, saying that treat everyone equally?
Yeah, actually, that
Why
was one
was
of the
the God?
points that I wanted to make. God wanted to create a moral beings. That's what I was saying in the first point. God wanted to make us as free moral agents. We can make decisions on our own, even if He comes
That's
and
completely antithetical, isn't it? You're free to make your choices, and then he says, no, make moral choices only. That's not giving the freedom, isn't it?
yes, it is His freedom. He's giving the choices. He's saying what
What
could
are
be
the
done, what
choices?
should be done.
That's not a choice. That's a rule.
Uh,
That's a rule he's making. How does he give us the rules? Tell me that. How does he give us the rules? See, the Jesus Christ story. His if his life you want to proclaim his life, he did not marry. Should everybody not marry?
no, no, He never
He
commanded that to
lived.
be
He
followed.
lived. He lived like almost like a beggar. Okay, with no
Yeah,
money on his hand.
yeah.
Does he want everyone to do that?
No,
And
that
he
was
lived
not a
all his
command from
life.
God.
No, no. See, that's what. See, you are saying that in Jesus Christ, he is trying to give us an example of how a moral person should be.
No, that
Tell
is not
me
the
what.
case. I did not say that. He was
Then
not
what
trying to
is the
teach us
purpose?
moral rules and regulations. He was trying to reveal to us who God was. He was trying to show the comprehensible version of God to us, so that we
No,
could
that's a
understand this
stupid way to
incomprehensible God.
reveal, isn't it? See, bringing him and getting him killed. There are so many people who got killed. Why is this person any special? There are so many people who got crucified. Crucifixion is not started with Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah,
Romans did that to almost thousands of years before. So a lot, so many years BC also they have done crucifixions.
sure. Yeah.
Why is this person anything special? There are miracles all before also. There's so many stories about, if you look at this thing called Epic of Gilgamesh, etc. So many miracles. Why is this person special? And if you go to different parts of the world around those times, in China, they have miracles too. They have even elaborate stories how to explain eclipses, how to explain uh, what do you say, all kinds of natural disasters. They have elaborate stories.
Sure.
My point is, what is the purpose?
What is unique about
If that,
Jesus?
what if the God's purpose is to show that He is present? Why Jesus? Or why not anyone else? How do you know that it is this person who your God wants to show? Why not anyone else? How did you come about this information?
Sure. Yeah. You proposed that there were multiple messiahs during that time. People who claimed themselves to be the Son of God or
Yep.
Messiah or whatever. Right? Yeah.
Yep. Hmm.
And it was a society that did not allow government to exist, not like India, where we have Sai Baba and every street has people who are like sages and all that. It was a society which killed people, stoned to death, who claimed to be God. That is the reason why Jesus
Okay.
was killed. Okay.
I
So,
know. I know. I was asking. The word atheist, where it comes from?
from Christians, yeah, they were called
No,
as
it's
atheists.
not. No. It's not Christian. It's actually a word from. It's a Latin word.
Okay.
Uh, Greeks had these gods, right? Anybody who did not believe those gods are called atheists.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
So every single person that is written in the Bible he's an atheist.
Yeah, according to
But
them,
that,
yeah, they were all atheists.
I know it's a silly argument. But what I'm saying is, how did you come about this person is the one that the God wants to send? Many people are killed, right? Not just Jesus Christ. Along with Jesus, there are a couple of people who got crucified according to that
Oh,
Bible
yeah.
story.
Oh, that's what I
And he
was
is not,
going on there.
and he is not the one who got resurrected. There are so many people who got resurrected and was walking around the streets around that time.
No one recorded as such. No one
No. The
strong
same place where
documentation as that of Jesus Christ.
what there is a strong documentation for Jesus Christ walking.
Not
Again, you know
walking
that
or resurrection.
yeah, every bit of these strong evidences that you suggest are word of mouth. You know that, right?
No, I don't feel the evidence of resurrection is very strong. I accept that. It's not very strong, but it is sufficient for faith. For those who want to believe, I think it is sufficient. That was the
Oh, that's
point
a weak
that I want to make.
argument. I know, I
No,
understand why Christians want to believe that that is sufficient. I'm saying it is a silly argument. It doesn't meet the burden of proof. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't. It doesn't tell us why they have discarded all the other God claims and just felt that this one is right.
no, we need to answer this question why many of the other people who claim to be God never managed to even create a small religion.
See, again,
But a
this
religion
is
called Christianity was able to produce a religion. I'm not appealing to authority or to numbers here, but we
no,
need
no.
to answer this question why
What?
it happened. Many of the
Why it happened?
antagonists were actually becoming Christians. Paul,
See,
James.
how do you know? See, how do you know there wasn't another religion which got killed completely by Christianity? You don't know because they have killed it. This is the same, what do you say, perfect fine-tuned universe argument. You're saying that, oh, Christianity came about, so it came out to be strong. So many people subscribe to it, so it must be true.
No. That's
I'm
what I'm saying.
saying,
I'm not appealing to authority here. That just
no,
because they
that's
survived,
what
I'm
you're
not saying
doing,
it
right?
is
See,
true.
that's exactly. See, you're saying there are so many other messiahs. None
Yeah.
of them survived the in the sense everybody died, but none of them survived the test of time except Jesse. That's what you're saying. My question is, how do you know that others have not been killed out? Just
Because
because
we
this
know.
one has, just because this one came about and is currently present, you're saying this is the true faith. In another 500 years, if this one dies out, and some other like that Joseph Smith, the
Yeah.
Mormonism, right? If that takes stronghold and this guy, goes to oblivion, just like Jehovah. See, there is a New Testament, right? Jehovah took a back seat and JC came in the forefront,
Yeah.
right? What if there is a third testament and Jesus Christ is also pushed backwards?
So,
How will the future people start, negotiating this? This is all making up stories just to fill their uh, pre-existing belief system. I know
no, I would
the
disagree with
most.
that. Yeah.
No, I agree. I know that many
Okay.
people who subscribe to this fine-tuning argument cannot get away from it. They are, what do you say? They are caught up saying that any different, we will not be there. Somebody is tuning the knobs to make this right. Now, science also cannot disprove that, right?
Yeah. So,
But the whole burden of proof lies on the theist who says that this person, this entity who created the universe, tuned everything, also sent a Messiah. This is complete non sequitur. I don't know how you are making that connection. You are just saying that he wants to give us, an indication that he's present. That's a pretty bad indication. Are there no
no,
better indication? You and I can come up with better indications, isn't it?
no, two arguments don't need to agree upon each other for it to be valid. Each of the individual arguments can be valid and still not be connected. That's fine. I'm not connecting Jesus Christ with this cosmological argument. Just saying that this will
No, no,
increase the probability of the designer being there. It is not even
no, no, no,
proving
no,
God
no, no,
exists
no.
actually.
No. It doesn't. It doesn't increase. See, if you give me 100 choices,
Okay.
just because the first one is zero, the second one is
So,
zero, the third one is zero, the fourth one is zero. If you disprove everything after 100 arguments, you're still left with zero. You cannot say just because there are so many arguments, there is
yeah,
a
sure.
probability of God. Right?
100 invalid
Each
arguments doesn't make a valid argument. Yeah.
Exactly. So each argument has to be proven beyond doubt
Sure.
to even calculate the probability. You have disregarded the multiverse concept. Multiverse concept, if that was, see, theists cannot say there is single universe. Science cannot say there is multi-universe. Both are operating on assumptions. When assumptions are to be made, why do theists take only one assumption and fixate on it, saying that yes, this there is a designer, that's why this is there. If there is multiverses, if there is the natural universe, the natural fabric of the whole cosmos
Sure.
makes multiverses, there is no need of a designer, isn't it? There are like bubbles, there are hundreds and hundreds and thousands of bubbles, millions of bubbles. One of them got all the things right and thus continue to exist. Everything else who got these constants incorrectly or not in
Viable for life.
relationship with each other, not relationship with each other,
Okay.
they might not have life, they might be still existing.
Yeah.
We don't know one way or the other, right? But theists make this argument that because we are existing, there is a designer. I'm saying there is no need of a designer. There could be other universes which we cannot examine right now, which you are disregarding.
Okay, this argument was proposed by Richard Dawkins in his book. He proposed that a multiverse is there, which is producing multiple millions of universes, which has different parameters. These constants are different parameters, and one universe which we are living in is perfect for the fine tuning and life to exist.
It's not
The
even
problem with
perfect,
this is
actually.
this. Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
The problem is that this is breaking the Occam's razor. You are proposing unnecessary universes just to avoid the designer. You are proposing multiple causes.
No, it's the other
to
way
avoid
around.
that.
You want to make the case of designer, so you are disregarding any opposition to it.
No, multiverse is
Right?
perfectly fine with this argument. I can still argue a fine-tuning argument with the multiverse.
Yeah, you would still say that the God is making
Multiverse.
multiverses. Right? The point is you're just pushing back and back. 300 years back, you would say life itself is the miracle which needs no explanation. It is just a God who created.
Sure. We do
200
not know
years
the
back,
mechanism,
you
so
would
we call it as miracle. Yeah. Sure.
200 years back, you would have said, okay, fine, maybe there is this thing called evolution, but who started the evolution, right? Then we said, there are a couple of theories that nobody can go back and see, right? You can't see, I can't see. So everybody has to rely on some amount of evidence and some amount of imagination. when there are when there are theories like abiogenesis, it simply opened up a way that people did not think previously was possible. Abiogenesis is a possibility. Now, nobody can know whether it happened or not, but abiogenesis is a possibility previously unknown, which opened up saying, yeah, life is not something that is created. Then again, immediately they pushed back the God, saying that who created the entire chemistry in the first place? Who created this whole thing? Then they figured out it all happens inside the stars. Heavier elements get merged in the stars and they just explode and seed everywhere in the cosmos. Immediately they said, oh no, who created those stars? It's just gravity. It's just gravity working on itself. Gases working on itself. Thus, no need of a God. Then immediately they pushed back and said, oh, who created that gravity in the first place? Who started? Where is this Big Bang coming from? Surely the God is behind the Big Bang. So whenever we come up with a viable explanation, these are pushing the boundaries back and back and back and back until the point where we can no longer observe. And they're saying, yep, there is the God right there. Because we cannot observe, they are finding a safe haven there. Now, why is this moving on and on instead of actually showing for the God? Any evidence for the God that you're proposing would be welcome. But the thing is, wherever science cannot go, that's where we are placing the God and saying it is valid enough reason.
Okay.
How is that valid enough reason when, not now, maybe 100 years later, if there is some way to observe beyond this universe, then what will people say? Just like what you said, oh, God started multiverse. So there is
Sure.
no way to avoid this argument, but theists always find a way to say behind it, behind it, behind it, right? 2000 years back, people will absolutely not know anything. Everything came, even they didn't even know where the thunders came from. Not 2000, couple of thousand of years back. So they invented a god. Jupiter is the guy who's throwing thunderbolts when he's angry. Let's sacrifice a goat. When people
Sure.
start studying this, found out that no, that there is no god up there. It's just electricity passing through the clouds. So whenever some explanation comes in, theists are pushing God one step back. This is the God of the gaps argument, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah. Many theists are making that mistake, but I don't think this argument as such makes that mistake at all. The thing
No,
is,
no, no,
I'm
no.
not
This is
proposing God as a solid proof that he is definitely behind this. I'm proposing a designer. I'm just proposing that there is a mind behind this, and I think that is very plausible with this argument here. That
okay.
we
Okay,
observe
then
design in all our life. We assume that as I said, when we see design, we recognize that easily. And
okay.
when the same question
Did
is
you
being put to the universe, we are not accepting it.
no, the same question you if I put to the God, will you accept it? Who designed the God?
Yeah, you can ask that question. Yeah, that is the
Yeah,
reason why
and
we
there
have
is
the
no answer.
contingency argument.
No, there is no argument. The contingency is just an escape route. See the cosmological argument, which William Lane Craig is very fond of. He says everything needs a cause except God. Why did he make that exception, or why do you make that exception? Let's talk to you then.
No, it's not actually
Everything.
everything as a cause. The principle of sufficient reason is that anything that is contingent or anything
What
that
is
begins to
contingent?
exist, anything that is going to
Huh.
change over time will require a cause. Anything that is
Okay.
unchanged, anything that is extremely strong, extremely powerful, anything that is
How do you know that there is a thing like that? How do you
yeah,
know there is a thing like that?
that is only the basis of the syllogism. That is the conclusion of the argument. We
No,
don't know.
syllogism is just a word play, right? To avoid the actual evidence part. Syllogism is just science is doing all the work. Whenever people are saying it is a god, science is doing all the work, and theists are not even trying to help science to prove the god claim. Same with thunders, same with diseases, same with volcanoes, same with earthquakes, everything. These simply sit back and say, some God did it. When science comes back and says, nope, nothing like that, it's natural thing, then they'll say, no, who did that in the first place? So every time these are sitting back and not answering the question, or not even
Sure.
trying to help the
Sure.
world by providing a positive side of evidence. Every syllogism is just wordplay, right? It's just trying to play with the rules of logic. If X is Y, Y is Z, then X is also Z. It's just playing with words. Syllogism is only valid if there is anything tangible, anything remotely physical. All these cosmological constants, everything is discovered by science. Religion did not do anything. Not even the theists, not even the God botherers, not any person who thinks that God did it has ever done anything to further this argument.
I
All
don't think when you
physical
include
concepts
theists under
are
that,
done by
there are many
scientists.
theists who are scientists and who are invented a lot of things. Like
Oh, it's the
the
other way
Big Bang
around.
theory itself has been proposed by a Christian. It was not by
I
an
know,
atheist.
limit. I know, limit. But you know why he did that?
No, I don't know.
Why did Limit say that there could be a Big Bang? It's actually he did not say it as Big Bang. It then came out the word. The story is there is this observation of expansion of the universe. He himself is a physicist, though he is a believer in God. He himself likes to observe, right? He
Yeah,
did not come out of his dream say that Yahweh came up in my mind or the Holy Ghost came up in my mind and then revealed it. He actually made an observation
yes, that's what
that
science is. Yeah,
exactly That's what I'm saying. He could be what do you call he's actually a father. He has actually a bishop, isn't it? I don't know if he's called a bishop, but he is a priest.
Okay, yeah, I'm
And
not
he
on it.
came up with the idea. Yeah, he came up with an idea saying that it could be an expanding universe because the observation says he didn't say that the Holy Ghost came in. He didn't say anything of that sort. Where is religion here? He relied on evidence, which is exactly what science asks you to do. And people say a lot of things like, Louis Pasteur was a Christian, Newton was a Christian. Yeah, obviously, Newton was a Christian, and that's exactly he failed to come up with the simple problem of three body problem, and he had to defer it 150 years for another guy to make it because he said, yep, God is fingering. The thought of God itself has stopped him from pursuing the next step. He's not a
We cannot be
Christian when
sure
he's
about that.
writing those. How do you know?
No,
He
you were
said
saying that
actually, he said in his writings that multi-body problem is something that I cannot solve. The
sure. So
finger
he
of the
proposed
God.
God. Yeah.
Yeah, he proposed God. But then 150 years later, this guy, is that Voltaire? I don't know, not Voltaire. It could be another guy. Sorry, I forgot.
Okay.
He
Yeah, I get the
simply
point.
came up. He simply came up and said, "There is no need of God here. I could simply write an equation and I'll explain everything, and it's just predictable." With his multi-body problem, it is easily solved, and now we can plan out every planet's orbit that we can observe. Everything. We have not seen Pluto make its full circulation till now, but we know exactly in what year it will make a full circulation, full revolution,
Sure.
because of one of the derivatives of multi-body problem. My point is, the scientists, though they may be Christians, though they may be the religious people,
Sure.
they relied on evidence and observation. No Jesus came in their mind, no Holy Ghost came in their mind, no Yahweh did the work. Humans did the work. They can attribute it to their religion. That's what everybody does. The other day I was talking about this guy called Ramanujan. He made all the work, he did all the work, and he simply attributed to a goddess. That's where I say God is some completely irrelevant, and there is no evidence for there is one.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So
Yeah, go ahead if you have other things to speak.
sure. Okay. Yeah. The science is there any requirement that the theists should not be using science? Do you say that?
No. Humans, right? I don't talk about theists and atheists as they are two different clans. Humans. Theists only do one thing incorrectly. They attribute things to a god. Everything else, they are humans. They are exactly the same as everybody else.
Sure.
Theists have only one problem.
So we cannot say that theists did not do anything scientifically till now.
No, theism, their God belief did not help them in making any scientific inventions. All
No, it
they
surely
did
did.
was based on
Back in the
all they
medieval
did.
period, they were having the concept of having a ordered life, ordered universe. Back in the time of Socrates or Aristotle, they did not believe that the world was orderly. They were thinking that it was what a random thing. These Christians came up with this idea of being an orderly world. That is the basis of science, actually. When you believe
No,
that
no,
the
no.
world is actually orderly, that is where your science begins. I'm not saying they
Science.
invented science. I'm saying it is the basis of science.
No. World is not orderly. World is absolutely not orderly.
At
4
least
point.
physically orderly, yeah.
No. It appears orderly because we have short lifespans. It appears orderly because we have shorter lifespans. We live only about a couple of decades, and even the recorded history is not more than few thousands of years. It
We are
appears
able to make
orderly.
observations based on size, maybe even go back billions of years and understand what was going on. So we cannot make the claim that we are having a short lifespan. We are making
No, we
observations, and
are.
we know that.
See, that's why I said recorded history, isn't it? See, recorded history is the only thing that we can be sure of. If cavemen started seeing, moons go out or stars exploding, there is no record of it. So we don't know whether they did see or did not see. I'm talking only about the recorded history. It's only about few thousands of years old. And in that, people have observed stars exploding, comets destroying. Where is the order in there? Orderly is supposed to be in a proper order which is predictable. All we can do is we can predict the observations, we can predict the planet's movements because we know the mathematics behind it.
Yes, that is what is
That's not
constant.
orderly.
That is
That's
the
not
whole point of
orderly.
this argument, fine-tuning argument. I am proposing constants which were constant right from the beginning of the universe. That is what
No, no,
is
no, no, no,
orderliness.
no, no. That we have already discredited, right? Why did you take up cosmological constant again and again when you know that there are other possibilities where these constant can be in different configurations, and maybe there are universes which work opposite to your universe right now.
No, I
How
don't
did you
deny that,
remove that?
but in our universe, this is constant. The physics is constant here. Our laws of physics are constant here. Mathematical laws are constant. Logic is constant.
Yeah, that's because you made it. Physics and mathematics actually does not exist outside of human mind. You know that, right?
No. It exists outside of our human mind. We are
No.
making observations of the world around us.
That's right. That is
That's
the
what science
language
is.
we speak. That's the language we speak. Mathematics does not exist outside our head. No other human, no other non-human, sorry, no other non-living thing cares about any other
Sure,
constants.
sure.
Only humans do. We invented mathematics. We invented mathematics only to make sense of the world around us. So the constants, they are also found out and calculated and expressed, questioned by scientists. No God necessary there.
No, I
I
understand
know,
your point. I'm not bringing God
no, I
into
know
this.
that I
I'm just
cannot.
saying.
I know that I cannot convince you because you're already convinced this is the strongest argument that you have. That's why the first slide when you said, I knew that that is your strongest argument.
Sure.
Fine tuning, because fine tuning is a non falsifiable position, because I cannot show you another universe with different set of constants. You could say that this is the only universe, everything is orderly. That's a non falsifiable position, right? Non falsifiable positions have zero weight in science. It's just faith. Science will never ever allow anything to be promoted or even continued if there is a non falsifiable position to it.
Sure. Okay.
That's where the faith comes in. See, I totally understand where the faith community or the theist community comes from, but the thing is that is a weak argument as per me. For them it is strong argument. I agree that.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And the problem with the non-falsifiable positions, right? I think you have done your research, but you still are stuck with this because this is non-falsifiable. But you must already hear or you already know what other non-falsifiable claims sound like, right?
No, I don't exactly agree that this is not falsifiable. I actually gave three options, and we are trying to rule out each of that. That's okay, but I understand your
No,
point.
no,
Non-falsifiable questions are usually difficult to prove or disprove.
yeah,
Non-falsifiable
yeah,
questions can be disprove.
not prove. It's actually the disprove part. See, people when say that okay, this is the only universe where everything is constant, any change will destroy it. How did you rule out the other universes where there are different constants and maybe it is better thriving than us? Here, 99.9999% of the solar system itself is unviable for life. How is it
Yes,
fine
exactly.
tuned for anything? Right? It is fine tuned. You think it is fine tuned because it is doing its own thing. You're the one who is making the observation saying, oh, everything seems to go round perfectly. No, they're not going perfectly. We are losing what do you call moon is losing at least couple of inches distance every year. Everything is changing. We just don't observe long enough. And again, math has to tell us that after so many millions of years, moon will escape Earth's orbit, and after some billions of years, sun will uh, blow up into a red giant and swallow Earth. We don't see these things because we are not alive for so long. We everything appears orderly. It's not orderly, and it does not need a designer to keep it that way.
Now, again, I'm not appealing to the designer right now, but I still disagree with you claiming that the world is not orderly. Like if
No,
you
it's
throw
not
the ball,
orderly.
we can throw the ball in different directions and different speed. It will appear different. Each observation will be different, but nonetheless, the same principles of gravity, same constants of gravity will be working in all of those cases. That is what the basis of science is. I'm not
Yeah, that is the
talking about
observation
design here.
part, right? See, that is the observation part. What we do is observe how it works and then write the laws. The laws are not prescriptive, they are descriptive.
Yes,
It just tells how the nature works. It doesn't say that how things should work. Now, predictability of these laws is an easy thing to do. If we know everything about Earth's gravity, we say that if you throw this ball with this speed, it will land in so and so place. The same principle will not apply, the same exact calculation will not apply on Mars if you don't take Mars gravity into account.
yes,
Right? The constant is the same. And the minute you get near black holes, all of these constants disappear, or at least they are
nullified.
they are unmeasurable. Even mathematics or science cannot say anything because they cannot observe anything. So when
I think we just have to disagree on that.
How is that?
No, I don't. You are destroying the complete field of science and maths for your argument. I don't think that's required. There is an orderliness in this universe. Not necessarily you need to account that by appealing to God, but there is definitely an orderliness in this world. That's the basis of science.
There is an appearance of orderliness. See, there is an appearance of orderliness.
These constants can change. Yeah, that's what you are proposing, right? It can change tomorrow. These constants can change tomorrow.
What I'm saying is the orderliness is okay. So your complete point is these constants did not change. So there is a designer. I'm saying the universe as it is constantly changing. The planets, the stars, everything is constantly changing. And probably you're saying even though they're changing, they're still following these constants only.
Yes.
That's the observation part of it. Why did you create a God? Why did you invent a God who creates these laws? What if there is a different universe? Like we keep coming back to the same exact point all through the while. How did you rule out there is not another universe where these constants are different and still functioning?
They can function, they can exist, they can have probably even life
forms.
Also,
but so in that universe also, someone like you and me will be arguing that, oh, these are perfectly made for our universe only. So now we have at least two universes with different sets of constants. Both of them are arguing there is a designer. There could be another 100 who have different configurations of this. Everyone keeps saying there is a designer. There is no designer, or at least there is no evidence of any designer that has made its case. Neither did you make the case.
Sure.
If there are all the options are on the table, how did a designer come into the picture in the first place?
You need a designer to put out the system where multiverse is being produced. Only then you will have the person. Not necessarily a person. You need to have a system. You are proposing a system wherein multiverse are being thrown out with each universe having a different parameters. That is what you was claiming. But for that system to happen,
how do you know?
We don't know. That's the whole issue. You are proposing things that are
I know that I know we don't know, but you are the one who's saying there is a person, there is an entity. Let's not call it a person. There is an entity who's doing it. I'm asking, how do you know? You're saying, yeah, we don't know, but you're still maintaining the position that yes, there is a person and that person needs worship, or at least acknowledgement.
The point is you are making that there could be 100 universes like our own universe, which life forms, which are discussing the same kind of topics that we are doing, which is very highly impossible. That is the whole point of this argument.
How did you calculate that highly impossible? My question is, how did you do that?
We do it with Max. We are having this life permitting parameters in each of these constants. These are studied by physicists, and I'm not proposing as a theological conclusion. This is being answered by the physicists.
I know what you're doing. But these are mathematics we invented, and then the same people who have given us these constants, the same group of scientists also give us the possibility of
Sure.
multiple universes where there is no need of a creator or a designer. So you are taking one part of mathematics which is trying to conclude that there is a God, and you're disregarding another piece which does not require a God. How did you make one is correct and other is wrong?
No, I don't think the multiverse somehow bypasses the designer.
That's
That is
because
the
you
whole
can
point
push
I'm
it
saying.
back. That's because you can easily go back one more step, saying the multiverse is created by God.
I'm not
So
proposing God of the gap here, brother.
no,
I'm
that it is
saying
God
that
of
there
the
are
gaps.
three
How are
options
you
there.
not seeing this, Chris? See, this is exactly the God of gaps. I explained to you previously that when diseases were there, people said it was God or wrath of devils or whatever, anything that is supernatural other than natural causes. When there was any um, natural disasters, people said that it is a God who is
Sure.
testing you, who is testing your faith.
Of course, yeah.
When we easily figured it out in a couple of 100 years that bullshit, it's not God who's doing it, it is bacteria which is causing us
Sure.
diseases, then they
Yeah.
stopped making that argument. So
Of course, yeah.
whenever we make one step in favor of science, religions takes two steps back and said, oh, you know what, who created that, who created. So my still my point is the same. Theists are not contributing their theism. I'm not saying theists. Theism is not contributing anything for the truth of their claims. What they propose something, science has to come back a couple of decades later and said, nonsense, that's not the case, something else is doing it. So every time, this is the history that has been happening for a few thousands of years. Every time theist or theism makes a proposition, a few decades later, or a few years later, a few centuries later for that matter, science comes out and said, nonsense, that's not the case. We know what the
Yeah.
reason is. So why are you confident that this is not going to be broken? That because you know for sure that humans cannot observe beyond the universe, existing universe. So you are hiding your God conveniently behind that curtain
Sure.
because there is no possibility. You can do all sorts of things with math, right? You could have an animal with 18 legs, just like a horse with wings. You could easily make a calculation how it could be possible, but then it's not occurring in nature, right? What science needs is some kind of an observational um, some kind of an observation which is at least in tune with the claims. Every time a theist makes claim, science comes out and then nullifies it. They move a couple of steps back. Now my question is, why are you so confident that the god or the designer or the creator is hiding behind the multiverse concept?
Okay.
Why? Where
The
is the
point is,
confidence coming from?
no, I'm not confident at all. I'm just presenting this as a probability theorem. So, thing is, there are three things that I propose for the reason why the universe is fine tuned. As I already said, the scientists are not disputing whether it is fine tuned or not. That is undisputed. Usually, they accept. Majority of the scientists accept that the universe is fine tuned for life. I accept that
Mhm.
there could be other universes where life forms would exist, but they are highly improbable. The answer, my proposal is there are three options for answering this question. One is proposing there is a designer, one is by chance, and one other is by physical necessity. Now, as you say, you are going to subscribe to the physical necessity, is it? I suppose
Which one
you're
is
going to say it
no no?
is
Which what is for physical necessity? What was that?
the reason why the universe is fine tuned. It's not because I was a designer, because it is just like that, chance. By chance, it is like that. Would
Okay.
you accept that?
No, no, it's not necessity. It's chance.
Yeah, yeah, chance. You're saying it is by chance,
Yes. Or
and
because the reason I say it could be chance is because of the probability of multiverses. The same probability is bringing you to the concept of God. Multiverse has no observable evidence. Your God has no observable evidence. all atheists and scientists are saying is, yep, there is no observable evidence. So the answer is we don't know. But theists, they say with full conviction, yep, there is a God behind it or there is a creator. And when pressed, like just what you did, when pressed hard, how are you confident? You say that no, it's a probability. No, if there is a probability, it's an if else question, right? It's always heads and tails. There could be a designer, there could not be a designer. But how are you giving weightage to one side of the argument more than the other?
Because
Why
we
are you
live our
so
life based on
convinced?
probabilities. Yeah, we are always living on based on probabilities. We don't imagine
Okay,
whether we're going to die tomorrow or not. So
okay,
probability is
let's
a very
say
good
that.
way to go forward.
Okay, very good. Let's say for a minute. Let's say there is a designer behind the multiverse. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Now tell me, how does that entity,
Hmm.
how does that entity influence in our life? An entity who is such big
No, it
and
doesn't.
such
It doesn't need to.
way,
It could
huh?
be a deistic god. Yeah.
Yeah. Then how did you come out to be a theist? That's the question. Why are
That
see
is.
if you were a deist, I wouldn't have much beef or anything discussed because we
Oh,
both will be
fine.
doing in logic itself. We'll be playing with words.
Sure,
But
sure. I
you
understand
are
that. Yeah.
a theist who has a particular God in mind. How did you make that connection? Someone who is behind multiverse, someone who has billions of galaxies and universes to attend to. Why is he interested in this particular planet?
Sure. That is what I was saying in the beginning. Because I just want to propose religion as a choice. You can follow whatever religion is it. Because you are an atheist, any argument against for God will be detrimental to you. That's the whole point. I don't need
No,
to
no, no, no,
prove
no, no.
specifically
See,
whether it is Christianity or Islam.
absolutely not. See, this is not detrimental to my position because there is no tangible evidence for a God.
Sure, I understand.
See, absence of evidence is not absence of existence. I fully agree with that, right?
Sure, yeah.
But there have been thousands and thousands of years worth of claims that theists keep making. Every one of those claims have been beaten by science to be false or to be completely wrong, to be completely upside down. And every now and then they keep going back one step. Now they sat exactly the spot where science is at the frontier. Even science cannot go further unless we improve our own technology. Why
Sure.
did
So you are
why
committing the same mistake that these thieves are making. They are proposing God wherever they cannot explain. You are proposing science wherever you cannot explain. You are saying that it will be
huh,
explained in the future. This is science
but
of God,
you
science of the gaps.
but but you are making the best of both arguments, but still you're making the theistic argument. See, you're trying to stay in the middle, but you're not in the middle. A person who is in the middle, who cannot decide this way or that way, would say, I'm an agnostic. I have no idea. I have no way to
Oh yes,
demonstrate. I have
yeah.
no way to find out. But you started saying you are theist. Theism is essential to a religion, or in the sense, sorry, theology is
Belief in
essential
God.
to a religion, right? Belief in a supernatural power. Now you can call it so many different ways, but you are fixated on one particular God that you were brought up with. How did you decline, or how did you not think Paramatma, the one described in Hinduism,
Sure. Yeah.
is the ultimate one?
My point is, no matter who the God is, it is still detrimental to your position, whichever God it is. My point here
No, there
today is
is.
not to argue
See,
about
the
the
point
particular
is there
theistic
is no
religion that I'm having here.
there
If
is
you
no
want, we can go
detriment.
there.
The point is, if you present an evidence, that will be detriment. All you're saying is claims. Now
Yes, yes, I
you're now
understand.
you're now
I'm not
you're
claiming
giving
that.
so much way. No, no. Now you're giving so much way. Now you're actually conceding so much that any religion could be fine. Okay, you started
Not.
out as a theist.
No,
Theism
no. It
is
will not be
essential
fine
to a
for
one
me.
particular religion.
It will
Now,
not be fine for
theism,
me, but any religion will be an opposition to your position, right? Whichever religion is
yeah,
true, it will be an opposition to your position.
absolutely. Every religion, if even one religion is proven to be true
Sure.
in their claims, it will be detrimental to atheistic position or the rationalist position. But
So yeah,
not one religion
has managed to do it for you.
has managed to do it. So we see atheists are not saying that we'll never believe in a God. All we are saying is your cousin representation is not sufficient for us to believe. And
Sure.
God's exactly these books describe absolutely no chance those things can exist. No atheist ever says that there is zero evidence of any supernatural power that sits behind multiverse. People can't even go beyond this universe, and you are hiding your God behind a multiverse. How are we going to say there is yes or no? You are the ones who's saying there yes, there is a God behind that multiverse who started it all. We are saying prove it. How do you know? How did you get this information in the first place? The word
Sure.
multiverse itself is given by scientists.
Yes.
So that is the point. I totally agree that you can easily kill atheism with one simple evidence, which is conclusive. People keep
Yes. Yes.
saying
Yeah. Very much.
all sorts of what do you say testimonials. You and I both agree testimonials is a stupid way to prove anything, right?
Yeah.
So every evidence that thousands of years or the thousands of years that theists had to
Okay.
provide evidence, they couldn't do a good job of it. They couldn't do a better job of it, say, other than hiding behind God of the gaps. Every time we move one step further, they move two steps back, saying it's behind that, behind that. You can easily disprove, you can easily destroy the position of atheism very easily. I totally agree. Every atheist will agree. You can disprove atheist position with evidence, not
Definitely. Yeah.
syllogisms, not the verbal, play that all apologists do, like William Lane Craig and everyone else. There is absolutely no physical evidence, not even observable, not even conceivable. That's where the whole thing rests, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah.
So
So
until
okay.
that is there, the logical position is to say, I don't know.
I don't know.
And that's exactly what atheist position is. I don't know.
No, that's not the
Give me
atheist question. That is
something.
the agnostic question.
What? Oh,
That is not the
atheist.
atheistic question. That is the agnostic question. I
No,
don't
no.
know is an agnostic question.
Yeah. Agnostic position is I don't know if there is a God or if there is no God. Atheist
Yeah.
position is theism is not correct. Okay. I don't know. The word I don't know is applicable for every claim.
Sure.
You say that where did the universe come from? I don't know. Theist says God created it. Both have the same exact explanatory power, right? I didn't give you any information. Theist didn't give you any information. I said I don't know. He said God did it. There is no information at all in there. It's exactly the same thing. At
There is
least
certainly explanatory power to that argument to propose
no,
God where.
absolutely not. See, because if you say that God created the universe or at least designed it, then everything you have to explain. How did so much immorality lies in here?
Sure.
How does so much pain and suffering is there in this? Why did he
Definitely.
create
Yeah.
it in such place? Why did he create 99.999% uninhabitable on the same planet itself? Right? You cannot live in the ocean. Fishes cannot live anywhere else. So everything is appears to be designed, but there is no indication of any designer. It's only in the minds of theists.
Fine. Okay. So it's going to 2 hours. Shall we conclude now?
Yeah, we can conclude.
Can I ask you a question finally?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
What kind of evidence do you think would be sufficient for you to believe that there is a God? Whatever the God is, right? I'm not giving the characteristics of this God, but definitely not some kind of a physical being, like Jesus or Rama or Hanuman or anyone like that. What kind of evidence do you think would be sufficient? Just a personal question, not as a discussion, but I'm asking, what kind of evidence would you consider as sufficient for you to believe in a God? Maybe if God appears to you in a great cloud and with thunder in his hand,
No.
would you accept him?
No. That I would probably under some kind of drug to do that. So
Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah,
right?
people do
Exactly.
that, right? People
Sure.
smoke a lot and they say that,
See
I
God.
have seen apparitions, I have seen things that I cannot explain. No, the point is, if there is a God and that God wants to tell me in full conclusion that a
Okay.
God exists,
Okay.
that God should know what will convince me, right? How are you and me? See, you and I both are humans. We are arguing, saying what will convince me. See, if something is written on the sky, tomorrow you open up and say that it is written in English or some language that we understand.
Okay.
I am God, I am here, right?
Sure.
Is the first thing say that yes, God is there? I would simply ask the question, who the hell did have that much of technology that they could write this, and why is God talking to me in English when
Okay.
half the planet does not talk in that language,
Okay.
right? And any other thing, see, any other thing in nature that is completely what do you say, unexplainable happens,
Okay. Yeah.
I would simply say I do not have an explanation for that. How do you know that it's not a physical explanation?
So
And
would you
nothing
say I
unnatural
don't know,
has
or
happened in.
say would you
What?
say it
No,
is
why would
I
you?
don't know, or would you say that it will be explained by science in the future?
Obviously, it might be explained. See, I cannot say the future.
Okay.
It can be or it cannot be explained in the future. See, one thing for sure, nobody can go back in time, right? At least in the current explanation of the time travel, we
Yeah.
cannot go back and see when the life started. We cannot go back and see when the earth started. We cannot go back and see when the first human lit up the first fire. We don't know,
Yeah.
right? We cannot go back. All we can do is come up with some kind of old evidence and surmise that, oh, this could happen this way, this could happen that way, maybe this oldest
That's
evidence that
possible.
we found is so and so, right? Now the same way, maybe we can or we cannot go in the future. Any unexplained phenomenon that happens in nature, the first answer should be that is something strange, I don't know how it happened. Because look at the history, right? Everything unnatural or unexplained that has happened in the past
Yes.
has
Definitely.
been explained in future. Like I said, it could be taking years, decades, or centuries.
Sure.
But science has consistently delivered. Theism
So
had all this time, but it did not deliver.
fine, I understand. So what would be your answer then? What kind of
No,
an evidence would
I don't know.
be sufficient?
I don't know. The God should know it. See, if the entity is so powerful to create the entire world, he could easily figure out what would convince any person.
No, if you don't set a goal, you will not ever reach it, right? If you're not going to ever have a criteria, at least some wide, broad
I
criteria of
don't know. See, I'm again
acceptance.
blocking. I'm again boxing myself in, saying that yeah, tomorrow if some dead person stands up and walks,
Okay.
if I say I'll believe it. There are so many
Okay.
people who who went off into coma, who thought people died and they buried and they broke open and came out. So what do I say?
No,
There is a
Manohar, I
God there.
understand your point. I'm just asking what kind of criteria would you set for God? Because I'm proposing this kind of arguments, right? For me, it was okay. For me, philosophical arguments
No,
are okay for me.
I know.
Most people
I
don't
see.
accept that.
It will be egoistic for me to say I know what such a powerful being, should prove it to me. It will be egoistic. If there is a person, if there is an entity that is so powerful, it can create multiverses. That entity should know what will convince me, right? See, there is so many convincing arguments for all the other unexplained phenomena. But for the ultimate question, why should I imagine? Why should I
You are
imagine? See,
you are saying this is egoistic, but I'm asking you as a person. I'm not even asking as the general sense. I'm just asking
no,
what
no,
kind of
that's not.
criteria will you
My,
set?
I really don't know. I really don't know what will convince me. Because for everything that you propose, for every miracle or so-called miracle that you propose,
Okay.
my default answer would be, I cannot explain that. My default, the first answer for anything that is unexplained or anything that is hard to explain is unnatural. My first answer is, I have no idea how to explain that. Let me wait if someone else can come up with a better convincing argument. Maybe there are better
Okay, fine.
scientists who know how to interpret this. I don't know. Don't have sufficient knowledge to interpret this.
Okay,
Right?
fine. Okay, okay. So shall I conclude then?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
So thank you very much for having me here. It was a wonderful time. I learned a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
sure,
things. Yeah,
sure.
so definitely.
Right?
Again, I'm
Yeah.
really honored to be called upon here. I am a nobody. Nobody know about who I was. I just wanted
No,
to like
no, no,
talk
don't
to
say
you.
that. You are
Very nice.
somebody to yourself. So don't say that you are nobody. You are somebody to yourself. You are always welcome. If you have more questions, if you have more points, please come back.
Yeah,
We'll
sure.
take.
We take
This is
so much.
actually exclusively for you only. So I wanted to
Thank you
see
very much.
what. No, that's because you mentioned that you are a Christian still does not believe in religion. So I thought I need to hear these arguments.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. So we'll conclude for the day. I have another live on Sunday, but there is another interesting person who wants to join on Sunday, who wants to disprove atheism, who wants to send shivers up atheism. So, so I'm kind of looking forward to that guy. Trying to see what his arguments would be. That will be in Telugu, so I'm not sure you will be. Uh, you understand that, but anyway, anytime you want to join back, please let me know, either by message or telegram.
Sure. Sure.
We'll
Yeah.
take
Thank you
it
very
up.
much. Seriously, thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I had a
Thanks a
wonderful
lot.
time. Take care. Good night.
Yep. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Good night. Okay, great. So that was time, Chris. Okay, so we have a good number of comments. Okay, there are a couple of people. Okay, there is a non-Christian who wanted to join, who thinks he can present better arguments. Yeah, a non-Christian and anyone else who think they can provide arguments, yeah, please go ahead and join the future live streams. I would like to hear your arguments, and I would expect everyone to be as courteous and respectful as time Chris. So that's it for all. That's it for today, and we will see you in another episode. The next episode is coming up on 19th September, and we'll have some interesting people joining there. See you guys, and have a good night.